உங்ககிட்ட யாராவது லஞ்சம் ஏதாவது கேட்டாங்கன்னா கொடுக்க முடியாது சொல்லுங்க. நான் இருக்கேன் உங்களோட.
Every citizen anywhere in the country wants a dream society, a government and administration where you can walk into a government office or even online, be able to get your registration or any document or any kind of a license without having to pay a bribe. Unfortunately, everyone seems to be resigned to this idea that hand grease money is the only oil that can keep the bureaucratic wheels running. So much so that political analysts very often say that corruption is not a political, or rather not an electoral issue, because it is universal and people are no longer worried about it. Something that perhaps was turned on its head in Tamil Nadu, where of course there were other factors, but the fact that Joseph Vijay came with a clean record, and the TVK promised what he called as a Tuya Shakti. And in the last, should I say, couple of months that he has been in government, indications seem to be that he is actually tackling it very well on the ground. I'm joined by Mr. Sivapriyan, ETB Sivapriyan, very senior journalist, and I'm also joined by Arappor Iyakkam person Jayaram Venkatesan. He's the convener of Arappor Iyakkam, and that is a anti-corruption crusade organization for several years in Tamil Nadu. First, you, Sivapriyan, there has been this anecdotal kind of evidence saying that in our education department, schools are getting recognition without paying the kind of a bribe, or what is being called as some kind of money that was demanded, or even in the registration department or in an RTO. Is this something that we should see as TVK's very good social media engineering being showcased, or real things are happening on the ground? How do you see it?
I would say it's both. It's both the social media engineering and also what is happening on the ground. Actually, things are starting to change. I won't say that it has completely changed. There are indications that things are starting to change at the ground level. So, like, there have been reports of bribes not being asked or bribes not being taken by officers, even if it is offered by citizens or industrialists or other people. There are multiple reports where from across the state where the building approvals are given without taking money from the builders, and also from other people, also from individuals. Electricity connections are being given to houses without paying extra bribe, and also about how people are being treated with dignity in some of the government offices. These are the things that we hear from the ground.
அடுத்து லஞ்சம்லாம் ஒழிக்க முடியாது, ஊழல்லாம் ஒழிக்க முடியாது, அதெல்லாம் பிளட்டிலேயே ஊறி போய் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொன்னவங்க போய் ஒவ்வொரு கவர்மெண்ட் ஆஃபீஸா பாருங்க. ஒரு பைசா லஞ்சம் இல்லை, ஒரு பைசா ஊழல் இல்லை, வேலையெல்லாம் சும்மா டக்கு டக்கு டக்குன்னு நடக்குது. ஒரு பெரியவர் ஒருத்தர் சொல்றாரு, தம்பி வேலையெல்லாம் நடக்குது, ஆனா அதையும் தாண்டி எங்களுக்கு மரியாதை கொடுக்குறாங்க தம்பி, உட்கார வச்சுலாம் பேசுறாங்க.
I myself have verified these claims with multiple people. Some people said that they are being treated with respect at police stations, treated with respect at taluk offices. And what they say is most of them have one common thing. They say that the officers, low-level officers, especially the peons and the people in the Tahsildar office, are scared of getting bribe, or actually scared of getting caught. Not even scared of getting bribes, but they are worried that someone will record it or someone will tip off the DVAC. So there may be raids. So there is some kind of a change that is starting to happen on the ground. But these are being amplified in social media as corruption is something that has been completely eradicated from Tamil Nadu. It's not. It is nowhere closer to the truth, because Jayaram would know how deep, how rotten this corrupt this system in Tamil Nadu is. So, like you spoke about bribes, there is something called party fund in Tamil Nadu that has been in existence for the past 20-30 years, where every builder or every contractor will have to contribute a percentage of the money to the ruling party. So that is called the party fund.
So like electoral bonds, was it supposed to be legal or illegal?
No, it is completely illegal. So it goes off as a black money. It is given to them in cash or in or actually in multiple ways. So this party fund is something that Chief Minister Joseph Vijay has focused on in the first 2.5 months of his tenure. So many people say that the party fund is almost existent in some departments. So like we if we take the registration department, which is the most corrupt department, if we take the regional transport office, which is another corrupt department. So here things are starting to change, but I won't say that registration department is completely free of corruption, because even as we speak, there is a case of a land worth 100
Yeah.
crore of Palani temple being registered in favor of someone for about 2.5 crores or something. So there is deep rotten corruption in the system. But what Mr. Vijay is actually starting to do is to reduce the corruption that affects the common man. So like he wants to clean the system from the bottom. So he has taken a lot of efforts in that. I think he has told the only cabinet meeting that he had on June 5th or something, where he very categorically told ministers that you shouldn't be getting bribes. There should be no party fund. And they've also instructed the MLAs not to get any kind of bribes from the common man. So this is what Mr. Vijay wants to do. But like you said, like there is also a difference between, like, in the way like what they talk and what they walk. So Mr. Vijay calls himself the Tuya Sakti, which is the pure force in English. But he goes and what to say, like does business with AIADMK ministers, former AIADMK people who have serious corruption charges against them. For example, the Virali Malai MLA who just resigned as an ADMK MLA was a former health
Yeah.
minister. Mr. Vijay Bhaskar is accused of taking bribes to the tune of about 36 crore rupees, along with
Yeah.
another minister and two senior police officers, both of them in the DGP rank, for allowing banned gutka to be sold in Chennai. So they allowed them to store those gutka and other banned materials and sell them illegally. So these are the kind of serious charges. And there is another minister called Mr. Yama Vijay Bhaskar, who has a 100 crore cheating case against him, land fraud against him. So these are the people Mr. Vijay is giving space into his party. So I think such moves
We'll come to
actually
those
overshadow.
issues of those political, the kind of division in the kind of values that Vijay seems to project in that sense. Jairam, you are someone who has been an anti-corruption crusader. Your organization has taken up causes and gone into the depth of where the corruption is happening, how it is happening, and try to awaken people as well. Uh, the initial these reporting of people saying that in the public interface we are happy that no bribe was asked for, obviously it's guided by fear of a political blowback or being exposed, like Sivapriyan said, with a viral video. Very obviously the administrative culture of corruption has not changed. So how does, while Vijay makes these dramatic statements saying don't, if anyone asks you for a bribe, don't give it, and I am with you. He's talking about an individual. He's not talking about the laws existing or institutions guarding people. How can a citizen, when he goes to an office, he's an isolated individual fighting a very powerful bureaucrat. Right now, things may seem that people are scared, but fear doesn't last forever. They find other means of playing the dynamics, isn't it?
Yes, whatever is happening currently is because of statements that are being made right from the chief minister as well. I think even in the recent public meeting that he held, he said that he in fact came up with a call to citizens saying that don't give bribe. If anyone asks for bribe, don't give bribe. I think probably this is the first time we are hearing from a chief minister telling people that don't give bribe, and I'm with you on this. So I think such statements have definitely given confidence to citizens also to not give bribe, as well as it has sent kind of a shockwaves amongst the corrupt officials as well, where they are in fact, one of the things that people are telling me is that there are two kinds of officials. Of course, there are officials who are corrupt, who are waiting and looking at these things and basically saying, is this going to last for long, or is it going to end soon? And the officials who are honest as well are saying the same thing. Basically, they are saying just that the tone is different. The honest officials are also saying this seems to be good. But will this last for long? And
Sustain.
for this to last long, as you said, we need a lot of administrative and legislative changes that needs to happen on the ground. So one of the things that we have been primarily saying is that for the services that where citizens go to the government office to access, such as the community certificate, patta, and many other things, the government has to come up with a mechanism where they could immediately, raise a complaint about many of these things, get access to services without paying bribes and so on. So for that, we have been telling the government that on one side, you have to ensure that the e-governance part is completed. Of course, Tamil Nadu had already started on it, partly and so on, but it has not been completed. If I have to give an example, the birth certificate, you can get it online today. But what many times that they do is that they will have one letter or two letters, they will make a mistake so that the citizens can come to the office. So, for example, for correction to birth certificate, you don't have it online. You have to go to the office physically to get it done. So that is where bribe is being sought for. So there are
So the
many
point
of
of
these.
contact is established.
Yeah.
The point of contact is established. The physical point of contact is established. So you have to ensure that in many of these services, wherever it is broken or wherever these physical points of contact is there, you have to ensure that you remove it immediately and ensure that the entire service is online end to end. So I think that is one thing that the government needs to work on very seriously. And there are departments such as labor departments, for example, which are completely, there is so much of corruption in there from top to bottom. What has happened is that every shop or many other commercial establishments, they face a lot of harassment from these departments like labor and even from corporation revenue department. So for them, there are already guidelines, there are already GOs which talks about ease of doing business, ways in which the entire inspection processes needs to be done completely online and so on. But none of this has been implemented till date. So these kinds of administrative and legislative changes. So, for example, for the services, what we have been saying is that you need to come up with an accountability law where, of course, yes, they need to give a legal health certificate within 15 days. But if they don't give within 15 days for want of bribe, what should a citizen do? Is there a mechanism to raise a complaint against that Tahsildar who has not given? And is there another body or another way, mechanism in which they will ensure that this citizen gets their service bribe free? So, and this is what we call as the Right to Services Act and so on. So, they have to come up with such legislative changes as well to ensure that citizen can get these services bribe free. The other side is about the big contracts, the tenders and contracts. The government like Tamil Nadu spends almost 3 lakh crores, I must say, on these tenders and contracts. If you include not just the Tamil Nadu government, but also all the public sector enterprises of the Tamil Nadu government, if you include all of them, it would exceed 3 lakh crore rupees. So there is, Sivapriyan spoke about the party fund. Party fund is nothing but the bribe that a politician takes for each of the contract, which amounts close to 10%. And then there is another 10% that is taken by the officials, at different levels. So there is at least a 20% leakage in every contract and tender that used to happen. Now, if you are going to revise, if you are going to, they have made an announcement that they will not take party fund. But you can't stop with that. You need to have a series of changes that you need to make. Number one, if you're saying that there is no party fund, all your estimates, you need to bring it down by almost 15 to 20%, because all these estimates are already very boosted, so that politicians and other people can make money. So you can actually decrease your expenditure, overall expenditure itself, by 20% just by revising the estimate and ensuring that they are placed around the market rate. Number two, you need to come up with end-to-end open e-tenders, open market tenders. Just today as we speak, I just now released around 28 tenders where even though the government has said that there will be no missionary certificate, site inspection certificate, which are physical points of contact, in Pollachi division of Water Resources Department, they have floated 28 small tenders in which they have said that they need to upload a site inspection certificate given by the executive engineer. So they have to now physically go to the executive engineer to get it. So therefore, these kinds of physical points of contact needs to be in the, come up, that they won't have these physical points of contact needs to be there as an amendment in the Tender Transparency Act itself. Any tender that is more than 1 lakh or so must be open e-tenders. Of course, depending on the emergency level, if there are small tenders, you can have a timeline of just 7 days. For anything less than 2 crores, there is already a law that you can give just 15 days. Anything more than 2 crore tender value, you need to give 30 days time for the contract. So there are these timelines as well. So they need to ensure things like that. The other thing that they need to ensure is that, see, there will be competition at the initial level. For example, before the technical bid, it will appear as though 3-4 people are competing. But after the technical bid point is over in these contracts, you will see that 3 of them will be disqualified and only 1 will be qualified. So they will set the tender conditions in such a way that there is only 1 person who qualifies to the financial bid round. So when the financial bid is open, there is only 1 person whose bid is open. So there is absolutely no competition in the tender at all. So whatever price that he quotes, the government has to give around that, even though you can negotiate a little.
Yeah. The one is, of course, the public interface where you're, in a window, you're having a corruption and that is getting taken care of, or that is being reported anecdotally by people from across Tamil Nadu, and that is giving reason for hope. But when the chief minister declares saying that don't give a bribe, if anyone asks you for a bribe, don't pay it, I am with you. It's politically a great line to give, and it infuses a lot of confidence among the public. But isn't it something that needs to be tackled systematically? I mean, he's talking about an individual taking care of it and the brand equity that comes from that. But beyond that is what Jayaram is also referring to, isn't it? How is that going to work, Sivapriyan?
Like Jayaram pointed out, the TVK government has to bring about a lot of systems into place to ensure that what they speak on public platforms or public meetings is reflected on the ground. A lot of things are beginning to change. I continue to repeat that they're beginning to change, but for these to sustain, because it's not just about officers or politicians who take bribes, it is also about people who are willing to give bribes to get their work expedited. So unless the system changes, I don't think these can be sustained over a long period of time. So like Jairam pointed out, we need a lot of systems in place. Like he actually spoke about the tenders. Tenders, if you say, they bring about clauses which makes a lot of people um, which excludes a lot of people from the tenders. So you just give it to one person, you make so many conditions. So those things have to be completely stopped. And the system of packaging, tender packaging, that is called that is actually the root cause of corruption, because you put a lot of packages into the tender. So that has to stop. There needs to be a lot of awareness created among the people. Today they have come up with a WhatsApp number through which you can actually report corruption. So we need to know how this is going to help people. And also the government should come up with foolproof systems to ensure that there are no misreportings. So someone who is affected by an officer, by an honest officer, should not go and file a wrong complaint against the person. So it is going to be a very, very tough task, not just about reducing corruption, but also sustaining the momentum. So the TVK government has to put in place a lot of checks and balances in the entire system, by bringing in laws, by bringing in a lot of people into it. And also Mr. Vijay spoke about delivering government services at their doorstep. So I think they'll have to start those recruitments so that people don't have to go all the way to the government offices to get their services. Also, like we spoke about the party fund. The party fund is not just about 10% or 20%. There are reports that in some departments it was about 30%, 35%, inflating tenders. These are the high levels of corruption, and the low levels of corruption are asking for somewhere between rupees 100 to rupees 10,000 for a certificate and so on. So I think this is where the TVK government has to clearly draw a distinction. So when they start the cleaning up from the bottom, they should also focus on the top, where a lot of high level corruption takes place, not just in tenders but also in approvals of large buildings, large scale infrastructure projects.
This is where the point that you brought up earlier comes up, isn't it? On the one hand, Vijay is talking about giving a clean government, corruption-free government, no bribes, and there seems to be a political compromise when you are saying that one, you are a minority government, so it may be compulsions of a minority government, but two, you're also inducting people who have been who are facing charges of corruption, and you gave examples of C. Vijay Bhaskar and M.R. Vijay Bhaskar as well. Couldn't Chief Minister Joseph Vijay actually have done without something like this? How much of a harm? Because the credibility is being questioned now when you're doing both at the same time, isn't it? Is that a political compulsion that he cannot get away with?
I don't think it's just about political credibility. I think it also overshadows a lot of changes that are beginning to happen on the ground. So, like when you actually say that when the chief minister goes on to the stage and says that don't give bribes, and both Vijay Bhaskars are standing next to him, so that's kind of irony.
Irony of
People
it.
cannot, yeah, these are people who have been accused of taking bribes, and they have charges against them. The CBI has charge sheeted Mr. Vijay Bhaskar and two DGP rank officers, another former minister of the AIADMK, and here he is standing with you, who yourself call a Tuya Sakti. So that is where the problem begins. So, actually, like, I personally believe that Vijay's party is in a doesn't run a minority government, because the Congress has 5 MLAs, the IUML and the VCK are part of the government. So I think his government is strong. Yes, I do agree there are political compulsions, and he doesn't want to run the government at the whims and fancies of the alliance partners. So he wants to increase his majority. But this manufacturing the majority is what costing Mr. Vijay politically, and also a lot of things administratively, because actually I'll split it into two parts. Like when 4 people from the AIADMK resigned, there were a lot of criticism, but all the 4, none of them had any corruption charges against them. So like that was at least there was some kind of a thing. Okay, he doesn't have a majority, so let him take these people. But when it was the 2 former ministers who already have cases against them, and serious charges against them, both have corruption cases, both have disproportionate assets case filed against them. One has a serious gutka selling charge, another has a serious land grabbing charge. So I think people will think twice about what Mr. Vijay says, because these are not very normal people. They have been, for example, the former health minister Vijay Bhaskar, a charge sheet has been filed against him. So this is where Mr. Vijay had to be careful. I think it's not going to stop with these 6 MLAs from the AIADMK. I think there are a lot of AIADMK former ministers who are current MLAs are planning to quit the AIADMK and join the TVK. And I think Mr. Vijay has to be very, very careful, because some of the MLAs who want to come to Mr. Vijay's camp are former ministers who have several cases, not just about disproportionate case, but also several cases of irregularities against them. So talking about telling people not to give bribes and inducting people who have already been accused of corruption should not go hand in hand.
Jayaram, this messaging seems to confuse people. Is that something that you think Vijay could have avoided? Because this kind of a dual stand where you are talking one thing and doing something else, is it reflecting to you as someone who has been an observer of politics in Tamil Nadu as well? his lack of political experience, because so far, even though people were dismissing him as someone who did not have that kind of a political sagacity, he was the smart one. He was the one who knew how to play the game and seemed to win people's hearts and got his mandate. Is he making a grave mistake in this one?
Yes, it's a very grave mistake. Particularly, it has now raised questions on his intention to weed out corruption itself, I would say. Because, see, whatever that he has been speaking so far in terms of weeding out corruption is definitely welcome. But on the other side, you can't say that I will take in corrupt people within the party or people who have charges of corruption within the party, and then I will run a clean government. I mean, it is completely antithesis, is what we can say. Because see, if you are bringing up people like see, let's say the former health minister C Vijay Bhaskar, it's not just there is a Gutka case, as Sivapriyan was saying, where he had got bribes from, allegedly got bribes to the tune of almost 14 lakhs per month from one Gutka company, that they have clearly now charge sheeted him for. The other case is a 35 crore disproportionate assets case, where the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption of the state government has charge sheeted him. Now, how will the DSP of the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption, who has to run this prosecution against a ruling party heavyweight, will it even be possible? How will an assistant public prosecutor in the Pudukkottai court argue against the same district's political heavyweight of the ruling party? Therefore, this is, it's completely not possible to have to say that we will take in corrupt people, but we will give clean governance. It's not possible at all. So these cases will get diluted in the future. C. Vijay Bhaskar had plenty of other cases too. We must understand that the income tax, as we speak, is demanding almost more than 200 crores. Particularly, they are saying that he has got almost 85 crores of money from mining company, from SRS mining company, who are known for illegal sand mining in Tamil Nadu. The Shekhar Reddy and Ramachandran coterie of people. So all these charges are there against him. The RK Nagar by-election was cancelled because there were papers that were found in places related to him where 13 crores were given to different ministers. So the list said that 13 crores were given to different ministers for distribution to voters. Now there is also a charge of illegal mining. That multiple times that mining of rough stone to the tune of multiple times than the allowed limit has happened in his land. And there is another case where the previous government just filed a closure report in which relates to corruption in medical colleges. With respect to the inspection of medical colleges. So therefore, there are at least 6-7 charges against him.
Sivapriyan, this entire thing about Vijay himself. If you were to look at past parties, we have seen Aam Aadmi Party, or even when Rajiv Gandhi was elected to power in 1984, of course, after Indira Gandhi's death. But the thing that someone with a very clean image has come into politics, and therefore that hope that Arvind Kejriwal must have generated. You mentioned about the WhatsApp phone numbers that have been given out, and that of course opens Pandora's box. That how they are going to handle is one thing. But what I want to ask you is, already the opposition, whether the legacy parties DMK and ADMK, have been in the back foot. Let's say ADMK seems to be almost on its last legs. How are they countering this? How is the DMK countering this? It's one thing to say, in 6 months, MK Stalin will be back as chief minister, but not only the popularity, not only the victory, now he's saying, I'll give you clean government, and people are seeing evidence of it. So how are they turning this entire narrative for their political interpretation and public consumption?
To be honest, I think the DMK has not completely come out of the shock of their defeat and the TV case victory. ADMK's case is completely different because they are even refusing to recognize the defeat. So Mr. Edappadi Palaniswamy is only very eager to send out most of his former ministers because he is not very ready to bring everyone together, sit and talk to them. The DMK, on the other hand, is trying to keep the morale of its cadres by saying that this government may not last beyond 6 months. But it is not in the hands of the DMK. Even if the DMK and the ADMK join together, they don't really have the numbers to bring this government down, because the numbers that they have is the DMK has about 60 and the AIADMK has about 41 now. So if more AIADMK MLAs are going to resign and join the TVK, and they are going to contest the by-elections, ensuing by-elections as part of the TVK, so it is only evident that the TVK's numbers are going to go up, and the DMK and the combined opposition number is going to come down. So the DMK is giving out a lot of knee-jerk reactions, like blaming Instagram for Mr. Vijay's victory, saying that people have voted for glamour, people have voted for this, people have voted for that. So, like, the DMK has to really go back to the drawing room and drawing board and really see what went wrong, because it's not just about corruption, it's not just about one thing, it is also about nepotism, it's also about dynastic politics. The DMK says that they do give opportunities to youngsters, but those youngsters are not from normal families. Those youngsters are basically from the heavyweights families itself. So if you take Ponmudi for that matter, so his son is his son wants to succeed him. Velu, the former PWD minister, his son wants to succeed him. So there is only a succession plan within the DMK in every district. We just talk about one Udayanidhi Stalin. There are Udayanidhi Stalins in every district in Tamil Nadu as far as the DMK is concerned. So these are the things that the DMK should actually consider, and they should really introspect what went wrong and why people defeated them. For the AIADMK, they really have to see how to keep them relevant in this age, because the AIADMK's only ideology has been anti-DMK. There has been no other plank for the AIADMK for the past 53 years. But now that the anti-DMK plank has also been snatched by the TVK. So the TVK now says that it is the prime anti-DMK force in Tamil Nadu, and projecting it as a TVK versus DMK fight in Tamil Nadu. So the AIADMK really has to pull up its socks and see where it stands, whether it has to change its ideology or whether it has to change its perspective. And it should do something to lose most of its functionaries and senior leaders to the TVK. While I agree that both the DMK and ADMK have a combined vote share of about 45 to 50%, but unless they do some course correction, real course correction, and do some honest introspection, I think their vote share will only continue to dwindle.
So, final comments from both of you. Vijay's victory somehow caught the nation's attention and imagination. He seems to have an opportunity to kind of bring new politics into it. I mean, the beginning of it, which seemed to be this end of corruption, end of bribes. What do you think? 2, 3 steps that Vijay needs to do to be able to become an example really for the rest of the country? Because everyone, I see other, not just actors, but others as well who have not been in politics, take some lessons from Vijay to be able to emulate the kind of success that he has had, especially with regard to this clean government, corruption-free government, bribe-free government. Jayaram first, and then Sivapriyan, please.
Yeah, see, the first thing that he needs to understand that is he doesn't need to go down the conventional party ways. Even if his government goes away today or let's say shortly, I think people are going to vote him in very clear majority. This is something that he must understand. As long as he is going to, deliver what he is promising in terms of clean governance, I think people will be very happy about it. They are seeing it day in and day out in the services that they access in the government places and so on. So therefore, he must understand this. Number two, he must work on the systemic changes that he himself has promised, Right to Services Act and the e-governance and other kind of open governance models. So that is something that he needs to really work on. And number three, he should ensure that the primary set of people who are most affected by the corruption and maladministration are the poorest, and therefore the basic services of the poorest, like for example in Chennai, we have been working in places like Kannagi Nagar and so where they are the people who are most affected by the corruption in the past. So therefore, he must focus on delivering basic services for the poorest, and that is, and if he keeps his focus on these things, I'm sure that people, even if he loses power because some MLAs withdraw or anything, I think people will vote him to powers. But he should not go down the other way of saying that he will get MLAs from other parties and so on, and it will only result in TVK replacing ADMK.
Actually, Vijay seems to have understood that that is very politically powerful, very potent. This stopping corruption, even the small corruption as we call it, and not the big corruption, and that is very potentially very powerful kind of a political messaging that he has done. Sivapriyan, what does Vijay need to do? I mean, initially people kept saying inexperience is going to show. Is it really showing in any manner other than these things that we are celebrating? But is there inexperience that's showing up?
I think Vijay will just have to walk the talk. I think he has to walk the extra mile to prove that he's a real change maker. So whatever he has promised, he has to deliver on the ground. I don't think the inexperienced tag holds on to him anymore, because I think in the past 2 months he has been to the secretariat every day and learnt the ropes of governance, and we can see him often in public now. So he attends at least one function a day. So I think that way Mr. Vijay has completely come out of his comfort zone. I think he's also very attentive to detail. A lot of officers I talk to say that he's very, very professional, and he also asks a lot of questions to officials when they present about that department. And he's also wanting to upgrade the urban infrastructure, the way of living, basically the standard of living. He says that in cities like Chennai, Coimbatore, Madurai should be above than what it is today. So I think Vijay will have to just walk the talk, and he has to ensure that his talk of corruption free governance and should actually reach the common people. Like Jayaram rightly pointed out, the low level corruption that affects the downtrodden, especially the poor people, has to be completely eradicated, and Mr. Vijay has to stand by them and walk the talk. Exactly, there is no other way for him to prove that he is the change maker.
Thank you so much, Sivapriyan and Jayaram, for your perspective and views. And I do hope Vijay's administration and his team is watching to walk the talk, and you don't have to emulate the so-called traditional legacy parties in order to stay in power. Thank you so much for joining us on DeKoder.